Yo, what's up netizens? Welcome back to another Minecraft video, and in today's video we are going to be doing a base tour of my new lab that I built on Java Edition for mod reviews in all future videos. The one on Bedrock kind of got a bit destroyed. I might try to convert it over to my computer. I used to do my Bedrock mod review videos on my phone, and so the lab on there is just still on my phone still, but I don't know where the world went. So yeah, we have the new lab, which is already backed up, so hopefully it doesn't go and just delete itself. Anyways, here we have the entrance to the lab. It is a very similar, well, it's not very similar, but this once you get down here is very similar to DanTDM's original lab. This is where I got inspiration from for this hallway right here, although I did change up the coloring a bit. The layout of it remained mostly the same, but other than that, once we go into here, it is completely original concepts where I have, well, the observation kind of wall over here. It's kind of inspired by DanTDM, but it is built slightly differently. And that way we can see what's going on in the main room over here without being directly in contact with it. Of course, if it's mobs or anything, they could probably still wayfind themselves over to this little corner over here. So I can patch up the walls if I want at any point. But for now, it's just going to be a nice little safe area just in case there's any explosives or anything that might be harmful in the main lab room. Now over here will be kind of our secondary lab room. Generally I use this room to store like the supplies and the things that I'll use in a mod, so then I can have the video all planned out, and that way I can just grab them from the chest that I stored in this room rather than having to pull them out of the creative inventory. And that's also kind of like a guide on how my video will progress and generally everything that we were going to check out in the mod. Now over here on the left side we have the elevator, the water elevators. They're kind of like test tubes. One side goes up and then the other side goes down. But we're going to check out the upper floor first. So that is where you come out of into this big open area over here. Now this area is kind of like inspired by Subnautica and their kind of circular structures when they're stranded on in the ocean. And I've kind of took the idea of having tunnels that goes to these separate dome areas that you can also enter independently depending on which way you're closer to, and that way you kind of can have different rooms that are connected by tunnels, and it just feels pretty cool to be walking around in a base like this one. Over here is the map room where I have a map of the general area of kind of my base, and I mean anything past that I haven't built anything on or observed yet, so we are just going to be working with this map right now. I might expand it in the future, but for now I think this is pretty good of a indicator of what goes around on the base that we can actually access. And over here is also kind of inspired by the Subnautica crafting system, although it looks nothing like it. But we have the crafting table on the bottom, the furnace on the top, a bunch of chests around the room for storage. They're kind of like lockers, and then we have another setup over here. We have these green kind of stained glass to kind of show like the radar and the technology kind of system. It looks pretty cool from the outside, and you can tell that it's a map room just by looking at it. So I think that's a pretty nice cosmetic touch. But then over here on the other side of this kind of dome area, we have an L-shaped tunnel that leads to an observatory room. And this room, although it's not as clear as it probably should be for observatory room, it's completely, well, the walls are nearly all made up of glass, and this way you can just look out into kind of the island and just anything around the area, and as well as into the sky, although it's not exactly the most visible. But yeah, I used this room for the moon phases video, if you guys have seen that one, where we took a look at the sun and moon phases and how they changed by using command blocks through these glass windows, and it was pretty cool, and it definitely gave me a use of this room that I would have otherwise had to be outside for, which of course I could be, but like, you know, this is just cooler. Now of course this room is mainly lit by the sun. I will show you guys the night version of this lab as well and what it looks like, but we also have glowstone in here to light up any other parts of the hallways when nighttime comes, or just in general where the sun can reach. I did show a bit of what this lab looks like at night in the moon phase video, but of course it wasn't the updated version and you probably didn't get as clear of a view. Anyways, going down this glass tube water elevator, we can go back down to the first floor or down to sea level. But yeah, this is the sea level. We have a pretty claustrophobic tunnel area over here, just a 2x2 space into a small little dome area. I'm not exactly sure what I was going to use this for, but it's a pretty nice looking area where you can have a nice view of the sea that's around us. There's the supports to the bridge. We got ocean life over here. It's just a nice little area if we need to take a look out into the sea that our lab is built on, because it is on an island. And then down here we have another tunnel with more windows. Over here is just the over here is just some land, but then over here is the back part of where this tunnel is. And then down here we have kind of what I call a underwater observatory area, where you have a big glass window here just to see what's going on outside or whatever's in the water. We also have glass on the ground so you can see under us, although you can't really see much since the water isn't very lit well. Over here is going to be the underwater storage area. We have all our chests over here in case we need to store any equipment that we need to use underwater. It'll be closer to our underwater exit right over here, where you can exit or enter the lab however you want to see it. You can also get a good look at the outside of the lab from the ocean right here. It's right by a cave I'm about to drown, and it's pretty much just sitting on the shore, but it is right next to an underwater ravine, which has to be one of the coolest spawns ever, just to conveniently be here by the island. And then we have this kind of the dome first area of the tunnel, and then there's the observatory room for underwater. Oh yeah, the roof is also made fully of glass, so you can see what's above you as well. And if we were ever chased by anything in the ocean, we could just come in over here and then lock up the door. That way they can't really get in. You can probably still hit them. They probably could also hit you, but that's just a safety door just in case we need to block something from getting in and make it escape underwater. So yeah, that is the lab. We're just going to leave that open because there's really no threat that's going to enter through there right now. And I'm just going to go and show you guys the surrounding area. This is pretty much all for inside the base, but we do have a bit more stuff outside. So yeah, wrong floor. Second floor will be our exit, going out the original door that we came in from. And over there, we're going to get to a bit later, but we're going to go over to this island over here first. So this island is for any kind of destructive mob or entity that I test with, so I don't destroy my original island. And it's also a bit more open, so I have a bit more room to maneuver and move around in case I need to escape from something rather than just running straight into trees. If you have seen my review on the Epic Fights mod, this island was used for the Wither fight, and it did get quite destructive, so luckily no part of the lab was destroyed because we used a separate island. And even though I do have a backup of the file, it's just nice to have an area where we know that our valuables won't get destroyed, just in case I have more stuff set up at the lab that I need to review later. And speaking of the Epic Fights video, there are going to be some changes that I need to add because there are a bunch more features and content that I just did not go over, so it might not have been accurate. But of course, like I said, it wasn't exactly a guide or a review. I was just taking a first glance at it. So I want to thank the people in the comments of that video who told me that I was missing a few things. I've done my research and now I'm a bit more informed about it. So now over here we have like a bridge area. I might fix the ground over here because it is currently a bit hard to get to. But I built this bridge that led over to the icebergs over here. Just in case I need to use them. I have no clue why I would need to use the icebergs, but we have like a sort of a miniature lab set up over here. The reason why I use like a kind of end rod with iron bars here is because if you actually have a zombie, they can't get past this. So if it's nighttime and we're doing a review over here, which I don't know why we would, there is a safe entrance that can be open without mobs getting through. And then on the second floor over here, we just have a small space over here. The end rods in here are actually used for lighting. And then you have a kind of observatory area up here. We can see the rest of the lab from. And these icebergs are actually naturally generated, which is crazy. I think the reason why it looks so corrupted was because this was built on a corrupted world, and so some of the structures might have merged with each other, or it's just how this map generated. I actually can't remember. Up here is a parkour to something else. We'll go over to that later. We're just gonna take a look at the rest of this lab or observation lab over here. This is just again another, I don't know what this is for, but we can fit through it. It's pretty cool. It's mainly used for the light. You have some glass over here to look up at the island, and then over here you just have the top of the icicle. I did not break much of this icicle. I just pretty much built my lab or observation center over it so we can kind of like observe the natural formation of an icicle. But anyways, if we can get up out of here, we're going to do a little bit of parkour. Never mind, I just got completely screwed. We're just going to do a little bit of parkour, get up over to here, and up our parkour clouds. You know, I kind of built this because I think in one of the videos where I just made a Minecraft parkour video, like a voiceover video over just parkour, I kind of used a segment of this. But of course, it's not that long. It's just a convenient way to get up to this island and look kind of like a bunch of clouds at the same time, so it's not just out of nowhere. And it's just a bunch of nice, easy, relaxing parkour. Up here we have a kind of unfinished house. I intended this to be one of like a replica of a dream house that I was going to build in real life, but you know, I built it way too large, so now it's just sitting here unfinished because I don't have the time to finish it. But it will be pretty cool if I actually do need like a lot of flat ground to do an experiment. This probably would be used, even though it's not finished. It provides a lot of nice flat ground and an open area for me to work with. Now we're just gonna take the other parkour path down. This path is a tad bit harder going down than going up, but it is still pretty manageable. But over here there's a over here there's something pretty cool. In this iceberg there's just like a hole over here, and we could probably use this for any fishing or just a small body of water, although it's like not even separated from the ocean. I just think this looks really cool and probably will be interesting to see rather than just fishing in the ocean. I still have yet to make a bridge to it. I could probably utilize this like underpass of this iceberg or something and connect it over here. There's so many cool things that just spawn onto this world, so I'm kind of excited to see what I can do with it in upcoming future videos. So now over here on our main island, I haven't showed the back much, but it's just going to be like a generic island with a bunch of trees, some flat land. There's some sand over here that's just floating on water. I'm not going to destroy this. I think it looks pretty cool. There's actually a whole cave under here. Well, it doesn't go too far. I didn't even realize that, but then there's also like a small ravine on the back over here as well. And that's just the rest of the island. Pretty cool. Definitely a ton to discover still and build upon. So yeah, with your support, we will expand our base and create more cooler structures around this nice little area. Now, outside of this island area, we just have a bunch more icebergs. I think we're like in an ice biome. Which biome does it say we're in? We're in the deep frozen ocean. So there's just a bunch of ice. I don't think mobs spawn naturally. Actually, I think they do, unless they're only on these specific islands. Yeah, we're in the forest biome now. So I think specifically in the deep cold ocean or the deep frozen ocean, mobs won't naturally spawn because technically it'll be too cold for them. But then like on the beach, the forest, they'll definitely be able to spawn. So this island also can spawn mobs, while my island over there is a bit more lit up, so there's less mobs to be spawned. I haven't explored much underground yet, but I do think there are some caves. I'll check that out later. But over here, like, we haven't really touched, I haven't really gone over here much, but it's just gonna be more small island and stuff, and a bit more biomes if we need to use it. And over here we have a huge desert, which I guess I can take advantage of in a future video. I actually didn't know there was land. Oh, there's a sunken ship right there. That's something to keep in mind. I actually didn't think there was land nearby here because it was just mostly islands from what I saw. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We might use that in a future video. But for now, we're just going to stick with our collection of islands over here that we have settled on already. The way we transport to these two islands is just going to be a simple command block and pressure plate. I might make this look cooler in the future, but for now, we're just going to leave it like that. I'm going to hop into spectator mode now to take a look underground. We have a lava pool really close to our lab, which is pretty interesting, and then a cave with just a ton of water in it right below that, a ravine, pretty nice, and a bunch of open areas. Is this a mine shaft? Oh my god, this is actually a mine shaft, or at least it's a part of it. Yeah, we have a whole mine shaft down here. That's pretty cool. This is one of the coolest scenes that I've seen, and I'm so glad that I built my base here, because there's just so many cool natural structures that are just so close by to this island. Of course, there's the /locate feature now that makes it so much easier to find structures that you need if I need to do it for a video. I'll actually go into the locate commands in another video because I think they're cool and not enough people are using them. So that probably will be a video in the future. Alright, now we're gonna just take a look at everything in the nighttime. If you guys don't want to watch this part of the video, sure, go ahead and skip to the end. But we're just going to go over this real quick, just in case you want to see the difference between the lab at night and day. We still have the redstone lamps up here, and this part of the room is still gonna look the same exact way as it did in the day. But then over here we have, of course, slightly darker dome area with the moon exposed through a top window. But we got the glowstone around to light up everything. The map room also looks pretty cool in the nighttime. And we got everything else around it, surrounded by darkness. Over here, the observatory room, when everything is dark. I might replace this with barrier blocks, but I think the glass just makes it a bit more realistic. The moon right above us. We have blue stained glass up there. I thought it looked cool, so that's probably why I put that there. And now we're gonna go down into the ocean and what the underwater layer or underwater floor looks like without natural sunlight. So I think it's a bit easier to see into the ocean. Nah, that's debatable. Let's go down here and check out the other room. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like it's slightly clear because you don't have as much interference from the sun. But, of course, you now have all the light from the room itself. Now let's just take a swim outside in the dark. I don't think the underwater part looks too different at nighttime. Of course, from the surface, it might look slightly better with the glowstone and everything. But we can just go straight up here and check out the bridge. Walking on this bridge is always pretty cool. I could probably make it a lot better than this, but hey, I like how it is right now, so I'm just gonna keep like this. Didn't take too long to make. But then over here at our observatory lab, or like our secondary lab, I guess, you see the end rods are pretty much providing all the light, and there's no torches around. Over here on the parkour, it's just going to be slightly darker. There's really no light source over here, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. We are on peaceful mode, so the lack of light really doesn't concern me as long as everything is still visible to an extent. Which I guess we might have to see if the moon's not that full, how it looked like if it doesn't provide all this light. But as you guys can see, our island from afar, it is pretty well lit up by our glowstone. I didn't use torches because I think it just looks slightly more modest if there was other light sources that blended in a bit better instead of just torches, like the shroom lights on the trees. But I mean, of course, if we have to, we will use torches. The rest of the island isn't really that lit up. It's mostly just a lab. And the other island is not lit at all, just in case I need mobs to spawn in there. But we'll take a look real quick, because even though there's really nothing much to look at. So yeah, there's the island at night. I think this is what you've seen in the Epic Fights mod video. So anyways, that was the base tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I was building it. It did take a long time to build, and I have many plans for this base in the future. So I really appreciate it if you guys would hit that like and subscribe button. Help me out so I can utilize this base more, make some more content for you guys. I have fun making it. Hopefully you guys enjoy as well. And yeah, I'll probably see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!